The Packers have played their 4 quarters. Now it's time for the 5th quarter.
Welcome back to the Stadium View. What time zone am I in right now? It's hard to tell. Travel back from the Coliseum. And boy, we sure could have used Spartacus or Russell Crowe yesterday, but at the old yard, the Packers take another tough one, 29-27 to the still undefeated Los Angeles Rams. We got a lot to talk about tonight, how that game finished, how that game was played. It was entertaining, and I have to admit, I have never been to a road game, and time was back when the Buccaneers were in the division, and they played in Tampa in December. The place was 80% Packer fans, obviously, but this one was at least 50-50, if not more, and they certainly were at more volume than the Rams fans until the final gun. Very disappointing loss for the now 3-3-1 Packers, so we'll get to it alongside, as usual, Matt Z. Hello, Matthew.
Hello. yeah, that was a tough one.
It's been a weird year. Rodgers goes down, heroic comeback. We have Crosby go 0 for 5. We have a tie when Clay, gets a sack that wasn't a sack. And now we have yesterday's calamity at the finish that has everyone all up in arms.
So going into the game, did you think the Packers were going to win?
I didn't pick them to win.
Right.
I picked that kind of a game.
Okay.
I knew they would cover. I knew they would play very spirited. They would score points. They'd give some up. I didn't think the defense was going to come out and play as effectively as they did early on. I mean, the Rams didn't cross midfield until the fake punt.
I was surprised at the Rams not being able to figure out that on third down passing situations, guess what? Everyone's blitzing.
Yeah, Patton's coming.
They seemed baffled by that time after time after time. They finally beat it with a run, but it took them a long time to figure out, hey, this is what Patton's going to do to us.
They held Gurley in check. They play hard. The one thing I kept saying was, this is probably going to come down to a turnover. I didn't think it was going to be that kind of a turnover.
And 2 points came down to a safety.
Yeah, and it came down to a safety with, the special teams, offenses and defenses, I think were a stalemate. But the Rams won the special teams game, I don't think, without question.
Yeah, I mean, and the Rams made big plays at the end when they absolutely needed to. Donald with that big sack on a 3-and-out that leads to the...
Clay had the big sack to get the stop.
Sure.
When the Rams got it back right after the Packers grabbed the lead, so...
Shank punt by Scott. That's a very big play in that game. Yeah, I know Montgomery is getting all the blame, and I get it. But that was an awful punt that put the Rams right there for that field goal to take the lead.
Yeah, I know. It was just odd all the way through. But a lot of excitement, and we'll get to the locker room stuff. And he didn't talk after the game, but he did just an hour ago. We'll hear from Ty Montgomery and get his explanation on how all that went down yesterday and what went down not only on the field, but after the field. There were a lot of things said. Now, this was a very unusual situation. The Coliseum, folks, was built in 23, and I don't think they've done much to it since. The press box was a trailer. They are redoing the whole press box for the Olympics in 20. When are they coming back? 28? 24? Something like that.
Yeah, 2024.
I think so, but whatever. And USC's getting a big upgrade. So we were sitting in little converted temporary trailers for the press box, which was kind of unusual. The locker room was so small we could not go into the locker room after the game. We had to catch guys coming out of the locker room on their way to the bus in the tunnel underneath the stadium, and it made for a very kind of chaotic scene, and guys were still steaming, and I will say this. I haven't heard as many 4-letter words coming out of Packer players' mouths about a loss than I did after this game. I'm not going to say who said what and what was said, but...
A lot of phooey?
There was a lot of frustration, and understandably so, about how that game went down and how that game finished. So,
well, you were right there. I mean, against an undefeated team, which a lot of experts believe are going to be in the Super Bowl. They're going to be Super Bowl favorites, and you took them to the limit.
They beat Denver by 3. They beat Seattle by 2. I don't think they've actually played Murderer's Row this season.
Gave up a lot of points to Minnesota.
And so, they're really good. They're very exciting. They've got tons of talent. There's no question about that. But are they beatable? I'm convinced they are.
Absolutely. Listen, they bleed just like everybody else. You can beat them.
Not quite as profusely as the guys up the street are
You can beat them. I mean, they're high-powered offense. Defense can make plays, but they're beatable. Just like every team is beatable. I know.
That's why the guys are really disconsolate, because they had the bye week. They put 2 weeks of planning into this thing. I thought the plan was really good, but they just could not carry it out. So, hey, we're going to hear from one of the really bright spots on this rookie class this year. Jair Alexander played great yesterday, I thought.
He really did, yeah.
And the other guy that got into the end zone again, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, due on board here tonight, so get a chance to meet him, the Packers' 5th-round draft choice, in a couple of minutes. But let's go to Le Coliseum in Los Angeles to hear what the guys had to say after the ball game, and we'll begin with head coach Mike McCarthy on one that got away again.
Well, that was a tough loss, hard-fought loss. Coming out here, I thought our team had a really good week of preparation, probably clearly our best week leading into it. Started the game as we would like, running the football. I thought our defense was outstanding there. Both teams were wearing down. I thought the guys fought. The Rams, congratulations. I thought they put out a tremendous effort. But the big plays, the back and forth, it's a tough one to swallow.
Very tough one to swallow indeed for the Pack. Now back at 500. As for Sean McVay's Rams, 8-0.
This team has demonstrated through 8 games, while we have a long way to go, there's a variety of ways that we can win, but ultimately our team is winning games because all 3 phases are doing an excellent job.
Yeah, they're good. There's no question about it. But it came down. I didn't have a printer on my plane coming home today, so I got to read this off my laptop. 2 special teams players for the Packers, though, just couldn't quite do their job when it mattered most. The D got the stop late after they grabbed the lead. The offense couldn't close it out, and it was a 3-and-out. And then J.K. Scott clanked a 25-yard punt.
The final punt there, dropped it inside, just went across the body, and you don't really even need to look up. You just know it, mishit it. So,
come on, kid.
Yeah, he knew right away. He said when he dropped it, it was off, and it was bad up to that point. I mean,
you know what? They talked all week. They've blocked this Littleton guy, this linebacker, really fast. He's blocked 4 punts already in his career, 2 this year. So they knew they were going to be coming, and they came hard at him a couple of times. But it caused the yips, that's for sure.
That's a big play. I mean, the Rams are already on your side of the field. They're at the 40. You got Zerline. I mean, the guy's got a monster leg.
That hurt. That's no question about that.
Rams had a lot of confidence.
There was still time, however. It set up the short drive for the go-ahead field goal, and then came time Montgomery's. Well, was it insubordination, kickoff return, and fumble? Like McCarthy would only say he messed up.
The plan was to stay in and give the ball to Aaron Rodgers.
That was the plan, but was he directly ordered to stay in? It's semantics that we'll have to sort out here.
And I would assume on the Rams side of things, the plan was to kick it probably a little shy of the end zone and force a return.
Zerline did that a couple of times.
Yeah.
Had him come out. And quite honestly, Ty just doesn't seem to really get up to speed on kickoff returns. He's really kind of patiently looking for holes.
I imagine
that's neither here nor there. But the fact of the matter is he came out, all right? And he came out, and if he would have just went down when he got hit, they have it at the 20 instead of the 25. But it was a fumble, and with 2:05 left and 1 timeout, needing only 3, Aaron Rodgers didn't get to touch the ball again.
Yeah, very disappointing. That play didn't lose the game, but it definitely took away an opportunity for us to go down and win it.
Yeah.
And listen, there's no guarantee they do march
That's what
down.
I said on the cover
you
two
never
last
know.
night. Yeah. Is that a slam dunk he drives for the win? Chances are pretty good, but you're right. No guarantee.
You do want that offense to get one more try, especially when all you need is a field goal. Right? I mean, that's all you would have needed.
Mason did hit from 53.
To get Mason in range, you wouldn't have had to drive all the way for a touchdown. I mean, and also coming out, you took away the 2-minute warning. Say he holds on to the ball and he gets tackled to the 20 and
it's
Packers
still a
get
2-minute warning, yeah.
Well, that 2-minute warning would have expired.
Yeah, I know. You would have lost a clock stopping.
Would have lost that stoppage, so that could come back
sure.
to bite you.
I understand. So it ended badly. But both sides, I thought, were good enough to win it. They had the early 10-point lead. They rallied from 10 down and had a bunch of big plays. How about Aaron Jones taking a delay up the middle for a 33-yard touch?
Aaron said, go make a play, and that's what happened. The guys up front, along with the rest of the blocking unit, they did a great job, and it was open. I was one-on-one with the safety, and I like my chances one-on-one with the safety.
He is this year's Jeff Janis. People are crying for him to get the touch every single time.
But he's producing as well.
He is producing.
He is. I mean, Janis...
I know, but still, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. I know what you're saying. But at least, Jones is producing.
Yeah, it was a nice
and you
run.
see, all it takes is a couple of touches, and he's got that breakaway big play ability.
Yeah.
So if you feed him more chance for big plays.
Gaping hole, one jump cut, and then it was one-on-one, as he said, with the safety, and he won that battle, that's for sure. And how about our guest tonight, Marquez Valdes-Scantling? Even down 6, he got 6 back on that 40-yard beauty.
Aaron, I was playing slot the play before. Aaron told me to go outside. He thought I could beat the defender on a go route. And after that, I just beat the defender, went inside. He threw a great ball and scored a touchdown.
You think that was a game winner?
Yeah, I mean, we were up. I think we had a pretty good shot at it. Some unfortunate things happened, but one play doesn't lose a football game. So one play doesn't win it either, as you can see.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of plays in a football game, not one big one either way. Well, the defense, I thought they gave up over 400, but I thought they came to play. 5 sacks of Jared Goff. Here's Clay Matthews.
I felt like we just showed up. Obviously they've had the success they've had with a lot of smoke and mirrors, good play calling, speed and misdirection. We came out, made it kind of dirty and grimy, really got after him, hit the quarterback, and obviously they kind of found their footing in the second half, maybe the late in the first half, but then we put it back on them at the end of the game and, did just enough for our offense to get down there. It's just, it really is a shame the way in which we dropped that game, but, you'd like to think, if we see these guys again, but at 3-1, we need to start winning these games. We can't let them go.
No, you can't. And Mike Daniels even a little more blunt than Clay.
It sucks. You had him on the ropes. But when you're fighting Mike Tyson, you got him on the ropes, you got to knock him out. You can't give him any life. And that's too many times we gave them life. So we have to do a better job.
Did get the job done. And but the Rams did. They made the plays in the last couple of minutes and won the ball game. And I did get a chance to run into the Rams locker room to visit with a guy that we haven't seen for a while. I didn't think we'd ever see again. And that was Sam Shields, Packers defensive back who we thought was going to retire because of all the concussions. Came back, now with the Rams, gets into the mix in the secondary a little bit. And boy, he made 2 big special teams play, downing that punt at the 1 right before the safety. And you know what? We can skip that Aaron Rodgers cut. Let's go right to Sam here, and then we'll get into Ty. But he downed the punt at the 1, and also caught the 12-yard pass from Johnny Hecker on the fake punt. And Sam was all smiles, obviously, afterwards.
Just some things we've been working on all week, and those was opportunities.
Since the U?
Right. and, you know how they go. Just taking advantage of the opportunities.
Everybody in Green Bay wanted to know, how you doing?
I'm feeling good, man. Just happy to be back out here, seeing those guys again. Jittery at first, I was really nervous. It's crazy to say that, but it was good seeing those guys again and playing against them. So it was all love, man.
Kyle, let's take a break and then we'll come back with.
They always been loyal, even to me when I was there. And y'all bring them everywhere. Green Bay bring them everywhere, but it was a hell of a game.
It was a hell of a game. It was a good, entertaining national game of the week on Fox. I'm sure they liked it.
No, absolutely. It was neck and neck, down to the wire. And just the way the defense did come out for the Packers, and you hold them to 6 points in that first half. That 2 points isn't on the defense. Yeah. But you held them to 6 points, this high-flying offense that no one else can stop, and they got speed all over the place. And the MVP and Todd Gurley, you shut them down in that first half.
Yeah.
But the offense was only able to get that 10. It was just...
But field position hurt.
Yep,
not only did they start at the 1, they had another possession start at the 4, another one possession that started at the 18.
If they could have just got another score or 2, a couple of field goals somewhere, give yourself a little bit more breathing room.
17-0 is a lot better than 10-0, but as it is...
They were right there in that game.
Yeah, they fell hard. And tell you what, we are going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to hear from the guy everybody's been talking about today, and that's running back Ty Montgomery. Did not talk after the ball game, but he did in the locker room just about an hour ago. And it was a very interesting conversation with the media. You'll hear about it, and we'll get to that in just a moment. We welcome you from Sheboygan to Wausau and everywhere in between, and streaming live on all of our video sites. We're live from the Stadium View on Holmgren Way. What do you got?
We got Singo here every Wednesday night from 6 to 9. That's musical bingo. Double Bubble every Monday from 10A to close. Every weekday from 10A to 7. Logan Spicer is going to be playing inside at Stadium View 6 to 9 tomorrow night. He is awesome. And make sure you watch all the away Packer games here at the Stadium View. Great roasted chicken specials, obviously a Wisconsin favorite, and great shot specials every time that the Packers score a touchdown.
Hey, let's hope they
Chicken
get a few
and
next
shots.
Sunday night. Why not?
That makes a 2-point loss feel a lot better the next day.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, when we come back, we'll hear from Ty Montgomery more in the 5th quarter right after this timeout.
We now return you to the 5th quarter, live from the Stadium View Bar and Grill. Here are Mark Daniels and Matt Z.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Woo-hoo! Good to have you here on a tough Monday night for the Pack. Still a long way to go, but they're looking up at you in the NFC North now with the Vikes losing to the Saints and the Bears beating the Jets, Lions falling to the Seahawks yesterday. So it's a jumbled mess in the black and blue with, still quite a few games to go. Let's see what happens. After the ball game, Ty Montgomery, as I said, did not want to meet with the media to talk about the play that really everyone seems to think cost the Packers that ball game. And there were several players who said some things, including one player anonymously who came right out with it and really blasted Ty. Mike Silver of the NFL Network wrote a story about it, and he said he talked to several players who wondered what in the world Ty was doing, bringing that ball out in the first place when he was told not to. Is it insubordination, a fireable offense? Is this Brandon Bostic all over again? The player was very pointed, the unnamed player, and used some foul language and basically just threw him under the bus.
Now, there's reports also that Ty kind of threw a tantrum on the sideline after he gets pulled and he throws his helmet down. Did you see that from the
I did not see that from the press box.
I didn't see that on television.
The series earlier, and remember, Packers got the stop, and before the 25-yard punt, there was a first down pass that was a little flare route to Ty that was wide of the mark. Wasn't sure if the route was shallow enough or whatever happened. And Ty thought he was in a position to really make some plays late in that game. And when it came out, he says it was really frustration. You get frustrated. You want to help the team. You want to make plays. And he wasn't really screaming at anyone in particular other than he was just frustrated that he's just not happening for him. So all of that as kind of the background story to this. And so we heard last night that Ty would probably talk today, and after their meetings, he did come into the locker room and did chat with us for about 10 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole 10 minutes, but I am going to play the first couple of minutes of Ty Montgomery explaining what in the heck happened, and I had to be the one to lead it off by asking him what happened. Let's listen to Ty Montgomery.
Ty, what were you told before the return to stay in?
Look, before every single return, I said the same thing. If it's in the end zone, keep it in the end zone. Y'all have seen me take a knee multiple times. Y'all have seen me have big returns and then still take a knee in the end zone, even when it's 3 yards deep. Said the same thing he always says. Call the return. If it's in the end zone, keep it in the end zone. Now, this kicker, we talked about in game planning, this kicker has a big leg. You guys watched the game. When he kicked the ball, if he wanted it to not be returned, he kicked it where? Out of the end zone or deep in the back of the end zone. When he kicked the returnable ball, where was it? In the field of play. At that point in time, I stood where I always stood. I had a returnable ball, so I made a split-second decision on, I don't know if this is going to land on the goal line. So I'm not going to take a knee on the goal line at the half-yard line and take a chance at putting the game in the ref's hands. Unfortunately, I ended up fumbling the football. I don't think we'd be having this conversation if I didn't fumble the football, because we know how good our 2-minute offense is. But I've never been a guy to completely disobey what I'm being told. I think you can ask a lot of guys around the locker room. That's not what I do. It's not the kind of man I am. It's not the kind of person I am.
What happened on the fumble, Ty?
And it happened so fast. I'm pissed off about it. Maybe I was loose with the ball. Maybe a combination of me being loose with the ball and the guy. He just made a good play. He's a good football player, and he put his hands in the right spot or whatever happened.
Were you surprised at all with some of the reactions from teammates?
100%. Very disappointing. There's a lot of stuff that's not true that's causing me to have to deal with, false accusations about my character, perceptions about my character. I've never been one to throw teammates under the bus. You guys know, if you guys ever ask me questions about teammates, I always deflect it. I don't like it. So it's very disappointing, especially as a guy that's jeopardized the length of his career, the amount of money he can make in his career, in the middle of a season, being asked to do multiple things all the time. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Is it an issue that you will address with guys, or do you think it needs to be addressed so it doesn't fracture a team or a unit at all?
No.
I'm not going to really address it. I have confidence, I believe, on this team that I can talk to, that I can vent to. However, it's not something that I'm not going to try to figure out who said what. That's not the kind of person I am. Honestly, if they wanted to be known, they would have said it. They would have made it clear. I personally don't buy into that. We talk about being brothers. We talk about being family and keeping things in-house, this, that, and the other, and that's not what happened. I don't know, maybe that's what they do in their family, but that's not what I do in mine. No one ever said anything to me. No one ever came to me. So I'm thoroughly disappointed in the speculation and just the backlash that I have to deal with now. Because now we're talking about my character. We're not even talking about the fumble anymore. We're talking about my character. We're talking about the reasons why I did what I did. And I'm not okay with that.
There you go. Ty Montgomery.
We're talking about character?
Well, yeah. His character was brought into question that he would, disobey orders and be motivated by his tantrum to say, screw this, I'm going to just take this game into my own hands.
No one can get into his head. No one knows where his mental state was when he goes out for the kick return. Who knows?
It's still a little ambiguous. Was he ordered you do for any reason? And Ty saying, he's got to know where he is when he catches the ball. All you got to do is look down when he catches it. But talking about a little more after what I did save and play on the air, now he's dealing with all this outside noise about all of this. And here's a quote from what he said about that. I deal with noise as a professional player on a weekly basis. We all do. That's what we have to deal with. The most disappointing thing is now that it's now inside. It's tough for me to trust anyone now. With that being said, people are sending messages to my wife, making comments on posts about my son, getting phone calls, people offering houses to stay because now people are making threats. Come on, Packer fans. It's a game. It was a mistake.
But that is the ugly underbelly of today's social media world.
It's true.
When anything negative happens to someone, it's immediate, I'm going to kill you, your family should die. It's disgusting that we act like that as humans towards one another, but that's what we do, and it sucks. And then these guys especially, because they're in these high-profile, very visible positions, deal with this all the time over a fumble in a sporting contest that ultimately, doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. It's just entertainment. It sucks that these guys have to deal.
It ruined your Sunday evening. Beyond that,
yes, it sucks that these guys and their family has to deal with, you want to say worse words, but a bunch of jerks.
And Ty hosts a little radio thing down in the Valley. He's not even going to it tonight just because he just does not want to deal with. I'm sure they'd be very kind to him there as the host of this thing. But that being said.
But if you're dealing with all that stuff online and your son and your family, it's awful. I hate that part about society. It's gross.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, do they cut him? No. I don't think they're going to cut him.
Don't think so. I think now the big storyline is this rumor that keeps coming out about Clinton Dix.
Well, trade deadline is this
tomorrow.
Week. There was a report that the Packers might be shopping for an edge rusher to get some more pressure. But who's going to give up, a prominent pass rusher when they're one of the most coveted players on a football team for a safety that, quite honestly, isn't really wowing anybody here into the final year of his contract.
But would he wow with a change of scenery?
Perhaps.
He talked, obviously, that, hey, I don't expect to be here next year. That's just kind of how this business works, playing out this final year of his contract. That's not exactly the attitude you want from your starting safety. And I think other teams look at that as well and say, all right, do we want that attitude on our team? Do we want to give up X, Y, and Z to try to get a guy like that?
Well, let's start by covering Josh Reynolds on a 1-yard touchdown catch. Let's start by not lunging and whiffing on Todd Gurley coming around the edge, late in the ball game, and then we'll see what happens.
No,
all right.
Back with Ty, he mentioned now he's dealing with it inside of the house, right? Like players are talking. You've got these anonymous player, at least one anonymous player. Voicing displeasure.
That really lowered the boom on him.
So now if he's got to try to figure out who that is, you got people talking behind your back. Is he a guy in that locker room that is very close-knit with other guys? You're there often, or is he kind of a loner
he's
kind of a guy?
Distant. I don't see him interacting an awful lot with everyone else in the locker room. He lockers next to Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones, and the running backs are kind of their little collective group. But I wonder how harmonious that is. Everyone's crying for Jones. Williams wants to play. Montgomery wants to play.
Right.
Mike continues to shuttle these guys in personnel groups, almost series by series. When it appears to me, and I think this is what Aaron Rodgers has been kind of grumbling about behind the scenes too, is let's get the best 11 out there all the time.
Yeah.
Are you telling me Aaron Jones can't play 50 snaps a game? Get 20 carries?
Yeah.
Got 12 and averaged almost 8 a carry yesterday again. It's just not enough touches. So there's a little of that going on. But no, I don't think Ty is the out front guy in that locker room by any stretch of the imagination. He's quiet, very reserved, very thoughtful.
And you just hope that a situation like that doesn't snowball, doesn't escalate, doesn't, create more diversion, more cracks.
Look what's happening in Jacksonville, Z.
Oh, I know.
That locker room is fractured.
Yeah.
This one, well, a little bomb went off yesterday, but some of the things that were said in the heat of the moment, understand. We're talking 25 minutes, a half an hour after a really hard-fought loss, and emotions were raw. And now you got to make sure, let's do as Andy Griffith used to say, we got to do a little bud nipping here.
But those emotions didn't surface when Mason Crosby missed so many kicks in Detroit. You didn't have the outburst.
That was a really emotional rallying cry for that guy. And I asked several players. Jones, Tramon Williams was one who went out of his way after the game to spend time and talk with Ty. We talked to Tramon again this afternoon. I'll have some stuff for you tomorrow morning on that. But he went out of his way to kind of just tell Ty, look, the only thing we could do is get ready for New England.
Right.
Okay, we cannot just dwell on this or look for reasons why or figure out who's upset by what happened. We've just got to band together and push forward. There's still plenty of time to do that. And I thought that was encouraging. And a lot of guys, several of them yesterday, Aaron Jones was one. Of course, that's his brother in the backfield. But he says, yeah, we're going to support Ty. It was just a tough play. Whether it was a bad decision or not, doesn't matter. The fumble was a bad play. Bad plays happen to all players at some point or another. So, yeah, we're going to support him and pick him up and hope he learns from the mistake. And that's about the best way you can deal with it.
Now, is he out there as kick returner come New England?
Good question.
I wonder.
I wonder. Yeah, it'll be an interesting week.
Maybe not in the fourth quarter.
We'll see. Yeah, with the game on the line.
2.5 minutes left.
With the game on the line.
Maybe not.
We're going to take a break. I wonder where MVS must have a little jet lag too, but hopefully he'll get over here tonight. But when we come back, we'll talk more about that game yesterday, everything else going on around with the Pack, and hey, we'll look for a hot play from the day. Don't go away. More of the fifth quarter live from the Stadium View in just a minute.
We now return you to the fifth quarter.
All right, we got to get a hot play. Anybody?
Bar and Grill. Here are Mark Daniels and Matt Z.
All right, welcome back, everybody. 29-27, disappointing day in L.A. as the Packers fall to the Rams. The Patriots are next, coming up on Sunday night in Foxborough. I bet we'll have ourselves a heck of a time next week.
Should be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Patriots have to get through Bills first. Let's
get through the Bills
first. NBC has already released a hype video for Brady Rodgers GOAT game with Michael Jordan.
Oh, really?
Talking about who's the greatest of all time in this big hype video already.
So it'll be only the second time that they've ever matched up.
2014 at Lambeau Field.
Yeah, all right. So we'll see what happens.
Packers won that game.
All right, we got to get to our hot play of the day. It's brought to you by friends at Robinson's. You know how it works. You guess the play correctly, you'll take home a prize tonight, and you will also be registered to win, the grand prize drawing at the end of the year, and that is a pair of indoor clubs to the Packers-Lions regular season finale. Once you are in, you are in. So we're looking for newcomers tonight. Who you got over there, Dave? Let's see if we can't get one right out of the gate.
Okay, we got Ted.
Ted!
Valdez-Scantling touchdown.
Rare is it when we have the play of the day coming from the guest of the day.
Who isn't our guest.
Yeah, so we thought. But it was a heck of a play, that's for sure. Packers were down late by a score of 26-20. Marquez Valdez-Scantling caught the 40-yard touchdown pass from Aaron Rodgers, and it was Aaron who says, you know what? This came from the suggestion of MVS and the go-ahead score.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about on the sideline. There was a picture we'd looked at and it looked like he had got on top, and I asked him, and I said, what do you want? Do you want another go route? Do you want a stop route? He said, no, I want a go route. I said, okay. So I came back to him. He beat him inside, restacked, and it was a nice play.
Very nice play. And nice job, Ted, on our hot play of the day.
I'd love to ask our non-guest, MVS, what he saw in coverage on that play and what how he felt after scoring that touchdown.
He's been running a lot of slants
Yeah.
and inside routes throughout the course of the game. And if you get another look at the play of the safety, from the one, DB is playing off. MVS runs a slant. It's wide open. I mean, they get 7 yards and he beats a safety. That thing could go 99. But Aaron handed it off instead. So the continually in running, and all of a sudden during the defense on the field, Marquez says something to Aaron, I think I could just lead in and go. And Aaron says, all right, let's do it. They did it. Worked out beautifully.
It's little
That's
things.
That's pretty good for a rookie.
Yeah. It's little things like that we miss out on when we're watching games because you don't get to see the all-22 film, the overhead shots. You miss out on a lot of that stuff where they are really kind of setting things up for future plays and future routes. And, hey, if we get this look again, let's make sure we fake this one and go this way. You miss that when you're watching that on television.
Yeah, you do. There's all kinds of intricacies, and that was kind of the thing that I was impressed about on the other side of the ball. Mike Penton with his defense. He went with just 2 defensive linemen much of the game, had Jermaine Whitehead in the box, had Tremont Williams kind of move into the slot with Jair Alexander back now in the corner from his groin injury, and I thought that kid played great. 5 pass breakups yesterday.
He's definitely got the most attitude we've seen for quite a while in that secondary.
I'm not sure what that swim thing was on the field after a breakup. But
I don't know.
Yeah, but
who knows?
But it was a big play. I like the way he closes on the ball, and he's very aggressive.
Good skills.
And he's a willing hitter, that's for sure. But eventually the Rams found the weakness in this, and that was they exposed Whitehead pass coverage. They got after that matchup, not unlike the Packers. Suddenly finding Devontae Adams was best matched against not Marcus Peters, but the other guy. What was that? 32. Troy Hill, not good. Ate him up to the tune of $133 again from Devontae, and a lot of big hits, 41, 48. So you get a sense of they're trying things, they're showing things, and then they're doing things off of that. That's what intrigued me about the Rams offense under Sean McVay, is that they do a lot of the similar things week to week, but every week there's some variations of plays that they create. Through motion, formation, the little bunch things, and then they try something a little different each week. So I was really cognizant of that. And there were a few things, and I thought the Packers played them, for the most part, pretty well. Those quick little wide receiver screens to the bunch formation.
Jet sweeps.
Yeah, jet sweeps, those kinds of things. As the Packers said going into that game, this is all about eye discipline. And for the most part, I thought their eye discipline was awfully good.
Yeah, we've said it multiple times. That first half, the defense was lights out. They really were lights out. In the second half, you get gashed on a couple of plays, but you did make enough plays, gets your team the lead. And
well, look at one series in particular before the 1-yard touchdown run. They got 57 yards on 2 catches that were called incomplete, and they were reversed.
Right.
Overturned on replay.
Tight plays.
Very tight plays. And, Packers could win because Jimmy Graham's butt is too big. Well, it isn't big enough, I guess.
Right, yeah.
If it was a little bigger, that one would have counted. But Jamal Williams got that one in anyway.
Yeah.
So
it's little things like that. But the defense played their butts off. I mean, obviously it helped to have that extra week of preparation. And then I guess you have to wonder, okay, if I don't have 2 weeks of preparation, do you hang with them that much? How does that game plan differ? That's going to be interesting to see if these 2 teams match up again.
I think you're seeing some things, though, on a consistent basis. Kenny Clark is having – Mike McCarthy came right out and said he's
fantastic.
A Pro Bowl player.
Yeah.
And I thought he made every bit as many plays as Aaron Donald up front. Donald is considered the best in the game, but I thought Kenny Clark really mucked it up in the run.
Yeah.
Got a couple of sacks.
When Kenny Clark was drafted, one of the knocks was he just was a little bit undersized. But it was all about technique and his footwork. But he's a beast.
But he was also just 20 years old when he got here.
Exactly. You can tell he's a little bit bigger. He's stronger. He's a monster in the middle of that line.
I think he's going to.
Last year he was really good too.
Down the stretch.
Yeah, one of those guys that really closed well, and he's taken that over into this year. So big things from him.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll check out things around the league. A coach got fired today. We'll talk about that. A little bit more coming up next. Don't go away. The 5th quarter returns after this timeout.
We now return you to the 5th quarter, live from the Stadium View Bar and Grill. Here are Mark Daniels and Matt Z.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Yeah, a long trip back home from Los Angeles, but it was nice to be out there. Went to Venice Beach on Saturday.
It's a fun city.
Crazy place, Venice Beach.
Expensive city.
Yeah, it's a very expensive city. And enjoyed it. Was downtown a little bit Saturday night. The Packers pep rally was good. Right across the street from the Staples Center. They also had the LA Comic-Con going on down at the Convention Center another block away. The costumes were ridiculously good. Unbelievable. Thousands and thousands of great costumes on Saturday night. And then came the game. But that was entertaining, too.
Sure.
And then the long ride home today.
You didn't get a chance to take in a World Series game out there, did you?
I did not.
Okay.
But what a day yesterday in Los Angeles. You had the Rams at home, Dodgers at home, the Kings at home. I think the Lakers were home or the Clippers or one or the other. And the Galaxy. All 5 LA pro teams all at home games yesterday. Traffic was bad.
Could be a reason why so many Packers fans were able to watch that game in Los Angeles yesterday.
No kidding. That was amazing.
The fan base was really spread out.
Well, we had a hot play of the day. Let's see if we can't find the cold play today. And again, Robinson will give you a prize tonight. Get you registered for our grand prize at the end of the year. This shouldn't take too long, I don't think. Who's first in line over there, Dave?
We got Sue.
I would say Ty Montgomery's fumble.
Really?
Nope.
No.
Not it.
No.
Not it. No. Sorry.
No.
Not it.
It was Tremont Williams' fair catch.
Yeah, right.
Sue, you're in. Yes, of course it was.
That was one of those cold plays where we could have taken the prize from Robinson Heating and Cooling, thrown it into the middle of the room like at a wedding in a garter belt, and just let everybody fight over it.
Yeah, who had?
Everybody knew what the cold
this one was
play
a gimme. Ty Montgomery's fumble came against the wishes of his boss.
Oh, when you look at this, last situation, obviously the plan there is to stay in the end zone. 2 minute. We actually talked about it as a team is clearly probably the best situation that both sides of the ball handle right now. That's what those games come down to. There's their decisions, and then Ty's in that decision situation, and I'm sure Ty was trying to make a play.
Just trying to make a play.
Yeah, we heard that before.
Just trying to make a play.
I'm just trying to make a play. And that's kind of what Ty was explaining.
Yeah.
He thought it was an opportunity, thought it was right, close enough at the goal line. But, again, Mike Silver's story, very inflammatory from a teammate of Ty Montgomery's. And here's Silver's story. According to more than a half dozen Packer players and coaches who witnessed it, Montgomery threw a tantrum of his own on the Packers' previous offensive series, become noticeably enraged on the sideline after being removed from the game. At least one player believed there was carryover from that incident to Montgomery's decision to disregard the coach's instruction and return the kickoff. Quote, they took him out for a play, and he slammed his helmet and threw a fit, one player told Silver. And then before the kickoff, they told him to take a knee, and he ran it out anyway. You know what that was? That was him saying, I'm going to do me. It's a blanking joke. I mean, what the blank are you doing? We've got Aaron Rodgers, the best I've ever seen, and you're going to take that risk? I mean, it's 12. All you got to do is give him the ball, and you know what's going to happen. The problem with this, and Ty is right, the problem with this is now it's inside. He can handle shots from fans, shots from us saying, what in the hell were you doing? But when it's a teammate saying, what the hell were you doing? And really, you thought it was a motivational thing that say, I'm just going to stick it to the coaches for yanking me out of the previous series? Then we got a problem. And so there's going to be some interesting discussions at 1265 this week on trying to put this little brush fire out.
Yeah, Mike Florio wrote for Pro Football Talk this afternoon questioning whether or not Mike McCarthy is the right man to be giving the orders if players are just openly disregarding and going against the orders. He's convinced that it was a move by Ty Montgomery to stick it to McCarthy and disregard the orders. And I don't know if that's
I don't get a sense of Ty Montgomery being a calculating, vindictive, I'm going to cost you a game, I'm so mad thing. I just don't get that. Right. I just think he made a bad decision, and it was compounded with bad ball security. I mean, if you watch the return, the first guy getting up under his legs got him up in the air. The ball comes up high. The carriage was bad. And then, it was punched out of there by Ramik Wilson, and he fell on it. It was a
great play by the Rams. I mean, that's a great special teams play in a huge moment. You just sealed that game.
Well, you did.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big play for the Rams. I wonder, I suppose you can speculate, you can't get in Ty's head, but if he's throwing that tantrum, he's throwing the helmet, he's upset, whether it's with himself, whether it's with the coaches for pulling him, what have you, and then you run him out there for that moment, Is he thinking, as clearly as he was before? Is he really trying to then just show what he can do?
It wasn't the next snap.
Oh, I know,
it was,
but does he let it go
and Ty
easily?
said today, he wasn't screaming at. He has seen Packer players scream at coaches.
Well, that's what I said.
Incidents.
Whether he was screaming at himself,
he just in frustration threw his helmet down, mad at himself for not being able to do more to help this team. He's questioning his own role on this team right now, and I think that's very understandable because he's really the odd man out. If I had to rank the running backs, I'd put Jones, Williams, and Montgomery in that order. And I don't think you need to trot 3 out there just for a change of pace or just for a specific, maybe we're going to get matchups with the converted wide receiver, now turned running back to get up against the linebacker, because we haven't seen any of that this season at all. We're seeing Jones run like crazy. We're seeing Williams get tough yards inside. And we're seeing Ty give those guys a breather. And Ty said he knows that.
Right.
And it's kind of it all bubbled over.
Yeah, and is he trying too hard to just make a play? And maybe that's what it was.
Maybe that
was in his head, and we'll never know.
We'll never know.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have made that decision. That is what everybody does know. Shouldn't have made that decision. It was deep enough in the end zone. He knew where he was.
-2, I think.
He should have stayed back in the end zone.
He should have
give the offense a chance. He had 2:05 to try to go down and win.
Not necessarily just even if he could have got to the 27. It was they only had one timeout, and you needed the timeout at the 2-minute warning.
Yes, you did. Yeah, take the knee.
Yeah, 2 yards deep.
2:05.
2 yards deep.
That's deep enough. These guys know where they are.
I know.
They see the white of the end zone. They know.
That was kind of a weak excuse there for Ty.
I think so too.
As was McCarthy's actually. Well, the plan was it a direct order?
They know in that situation.
Bostic's was a direct order.
Right.
Jordy's catching the onside kick.
Who called the code
Your
red?
job is to Your job is to take out the guy coming to get Jordy to prevent him from catching the ball, not you catching the ball. And of course, he did catch the ball, and the Packers did go to the Super Bowl. A little more on that one than what happened yesterday.
I will guarantee whoever is kick returner, if you get down to that situation again, they take a knee every single time. They don't. No one else tries to come out and make a play with 2 minutes left, down by 2 or 3.
I'm sure. Yeah,
no one else is going to do that this year.
I would bet. And I would think
that is going to be focused on. That is going to be emphasized. Every single game.
It's on Ron Zook. Actually, he's the coordinator.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, special teams has not been good the last couple of weeks.
But you can't control them once the ball's in the air. You tell them pre-kick, hey, this is what I want you to do if we get this look. Once it's in the air, it's up to the players.
I understand.
Players got to make decisions.
I understand. And I think what a lot of people also kind of ramped up the heat on Ty was that unlike Bostic in the Super Bowl, and I'll never forget that in Seattle, he sat in his locker with his head under a towel for 20 minutes knowing he had to talk to us about that play, and he talked to us about that play. Not unlike Mason Crosby, who in Detroit knew he had to talk about whiffing 5 times, and he did. And then Montgomery walked right past a couple of reporters yesterday. I think Rob was one. Domofsky, Rod Burks from Channel 5, Milwaukee TV station was another one. And just said no, and he just kept going. And that got everybody even a little more riled up, and then kind of fueled the fire for 24 hours.
Yeah, I wonder if he had a run-in with a player or something like that leading into it, and he just maybe was a little overheated, didn't want to talk, just wasn't in the right headspace. I'm fine with that kind of a thing.
They call it a 10-minute cooling off period because it's a 10-minute. You're a big boy.
Yeah.
Face the music.
You make a lot of money.
Talk about the play. That's part of the deal. All right, we got to take one more break. And when we come back, we'll kind of just recap the weekend that was in the NFL.
We'll have 3 minutes to see if our guest
we'll get you ready for next weekend's game in Foxborough. Don't go away. 5th quarter wraps up right after this.
We now return you to the 5th quarter, live from the Stadium View Bar and Grill. Here are Mark Daniels and Matt Z.
All right, welcome back, everybody. All right, bad as it was, it's not over for these guys. They still got a long ways to go. Everybody in the North has at least 3 losses 8 weeks into the season. So, and they're going to play them all again, so they can still get it done. There were positives to take out of that game. They went up against generally considered the best team in the league, played toe-to-toe with them on the road. An exciting game. Let's see if they can parlay this into what is still a very tough stretch. Patriots, home to the Dolphins, off to Seattle, off to Minnesota. We'll know by Thanksgiving whether this is going to be a team that's going to stay in the mix or maybe a team that's going to be like John Dorsey, looking for a coach. Hugh Jackson fired today in Cleveland. How could they let him go?
It is about time.
What?
He was so bad in
3-36-1.
I don't know what kind of dirt he had on the Haslam family to keep that job so long. But it was just deemed not juicy enough in Cleveland. They finally got rid of him. They got rid of Haley as well. So, yeah, they're cleaning some house there.
Yeah, all right. And, the Raiders have been cleaning house. They trade, Mack. They trade Cooper. They're talking
planning
Carr. The trade deadline's this week.
Yeah.
Packers aren't going to trade Ha-Ha Clinton-Dix. And they're not going to cut Ty Montgomery. And they're going to get ready for the New England Patriots 1 week from tonight.
Maybe a trade of Ty Montgomery?
Sunday night, I should say, in Foxborough. I don't know what day it is. It's been that kind of a weekend. All right, but with the Packers away, we'll send you over up the street to the Packer Pro Shop. Our friends at Robinson's got the gift card for somebody who was kind enough to come over and say hello tonight. Who's our winner?
Sue Jakes.
Sue Jakes gets the card. Congratulations, Sue. Sorry about MVS tonight. We'll see what happens next week. You never know. These guys, jeez, they take it harder than we do, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Some after the game, I'm okay. We're good. I'm good. But again, a little jet lag. You never know what happens.
Who knows? Maybe they had last-minute meetings called tonight.
I don't think so.
Maybe had to get.
Or maybe they're going to just do a little kumbaya session here, smooth everything over with Ty. And the way that locker room is kind of getting weird.
Maybe he had to get an extra session in the ice tub.
All right.
Who knows?
Get a chance to peek at the Pats tonight. We'll scout them out, and I know you'll be watching, and we'll be covering it all week. And I'll be in Foxborough on the weekend.
Big game next
back
weekend.
Next Monday night for another edition. Thanks so much for coming out. Don't go away. We got some more door prizes to give away before we say goodnight. Till then, from At Sea, I'm Mark Daniels. Thanks for coming over. We'll see you next time.